Hey guys, it's George here, and before the highlights video starts, I just want to say something. So, many of you are probably aware that on Saturday night, Murray Walker, aged 97, sadly passed away, and his death was a shock to the motorsport community and just to everyone as a whole, not just the motorsport community, just everyone really. But Murray Walker was, for me, one of my inspirations to commentate the OC. I always loved listening to him on TV, doing not just Formula 1 as well, doing the British Touring Car Championship, and just his energy, his passion, and just the way he was. It just, inspired so many people, inspired me. That's why I'm kind of doing commentary. I always loved doing it, something that I'm just quite passionate about. I know it's over, I suppose, a video game and AI and everything like that, but in all seriousness though, no one could do it quite as good as him. So to have him pass away was pretty gutting, to be honest. He was one of my inspirations, is why I'm doing it now. But I suppose he was just all around a great guy, really. There's no other way of putting it. I've never been really down about something like this before, and normally I wouldn't do this kind of thing, but this is definitely something that's affected me, because I looked up to him, I love listening to him, and it will just seem very strange that he's gone. So that's all about that I really need to say, to be honest. But the last thing I'll leave to you is a couple of famous Murray Walker quotes. One of his most famous ones being, "Anything happens in Grand Prix racing, and it usually does." And personally, another one that I quite like is, "Someone said once, follow the money, and that is what it is all about." And for him, it was never about the money. It was just about doing something that he loved as a normal human being, really. So that's all I have to say. R.I.P. Murray Walker. You were the greatest that there ever was. Thank you. Konnichiwa and welcome to Japan, more specifically Suzuka, for round 17 of the GP4 OC 2018 season, the Japanese Grand Prix. The 11th time we'll be here at Suzuka, with two races being held at the Fuji Super Speedway in 2007 and 2008. The circuit is, of course, the only circuit on the calendar that has a layout which is a figure of 8, the track owned by the Japanese car manufacturer Honda. I'm sure you've heard of them, who originally intended to use this track as a testing facility. Previous three winners here have included Florian Volker, Will Miller, and of course Florian Volker winning here last season. Of course, last race was won by Joseph Wills. He finally got some luck and he finally won the Russian Grand Prix. So can he continue that good run of form? We shall see. 53 laps around the circuit, a circuit length of 5.807 kilometers, 18 corners. That record set actually back in 2006, so over 10 seasons ago, by Joseph Wills, 128.650. But I wonder, with the current cars that we have, that will probably beat it. So anyway, the tyres we'll be using for this race will be the ultra soft tyres, and the driver of the day from last time out was given to George Rope for finally getting his first podium in a number of seasons, albeit not on track after time penalty for Roland Moichin. But here is the starting grid for the Japanese Grand Prix, and on the front row it is Florian Volker taking pole position and beating their record, a 1:27.9, ahead of Joseph Wills second, 2/10 behind. On row 2 we have Franco Lopez and Nicolas Gau from Mercedes and Red Bull, with Nicolas Gau under a lot of pressure to try and keep his Red Bull seat. Joel Hutter 5th and Amar Carr 6th for Red Bull and Ferrari respectively. Carr still not yet announced, but that could be coming. George Roke in 7th and Paleo Tomaselli 8th for Haas and Sauber, but good qualifying by Roke as well. Best of the rest. Thierry Tunen, a good qualifying by him as well. 9th for Force India, and Evan Byrne 10th for Renault, one of the drivers who's already been confirmed for next season. Enis Barachki, a good qualifying by him as well actually, 11th position, with Jamie Kent 12th. On row 7 of the group we have Lean Campana for Williams and Franco Gamba for Haas. Row 8 we have Kirosima De Rosa 15th and Laura Chung 16th respectively for their teams. Rella Moited 17th for Force India and Gabriel Gomez 18th for Sauber. Not best qualifying by either of those two drivers, although Force India have never been really good qualifying this season anyway. Maxime Titkov 19th for Manor, Roberto Gamba 20th for McLaren. On the final row of the grid we have Felix Sontag for Williams and Etienne Jones, who was way off in the Manor Rover, second off Felix Sontag in 22nd position. Team news for this week, we have 3 sets of team news. That Manor has been confirmed. Maxime Titkov will remain at Manor, but Rosetta Martinez will be promoted from DTM. The current DTM Championship leader will be promoted to drive for Manor, and Florian Volker will of course remain at Mercedes for next season. So not really a big surprise for any of those 3 announcements. I think we all knew they were coming eventually. They've happened now, so congrats to Martinez as well. The weather for this race, it will be a sunny race, 0% chance of rain. So let's get on with the race, shall we? So now, on with the race. Volker on pole position, he's got a fair amount of fuel. Looks like it's going to be a 2-stop for him, as we now have the 5 lights coming on here at Suzuka. And we're underway, and it looks like Volker's made a pretty good start as they head towards the first corner, and it looks like he's going to be ahead of Willows, and will Willows get overtaken by Lopez? He might be, possibly. Lopez is on the inside, and I think Lopez might take second place, and I think he's through, as Willows can keep it as they come through the S's section of this track, one of the most famous parts of it, and Lopez has got second, so a good start for Franco Lopez. Willows down to third, not the start he would have wanted. Hutzer in fourth, Carr in fifth. As cars head round, the question is, will there be any crashes on the first lap? There always seems to be at Suzuka at some point in this track, and the next corner they come up to is going to be one of them. Willows trying to get back past Lopez. Is he going to make it stick? And the answer is no, he can't. So he fails to make the move stick there. So look at that, and actually Enis Barachki's made a good start. He's up into 8th position. Great start for Barachki. He will get some good points today. As we look at the rest of the order, have they all got through without damage? And they have so far. They've kept it all clean. But Volker has already checked out front. And let's see if he can keep that pace up. But let's see if Willows can get past his teammate. First of all, that would be interesting as well to see. He's got a fair amount of fuel, Volker, but it looks like it is going to be the 2-stop for him. Lopez has got light fuel. I mean, Willows has got light fuel as well, actually. So, but he's got much lighter than Volker. So, would it be a 3? I'm not sure. But I'd say probably the 2-stop is definitely the best here at Suzuka, in the fact that it's not exactly a long race. But speaking of Willows, he's trying to make the move on Lopez, coming into the chicane. Might make a stick, and Gal in 7th trying to defend from Parashki behind him. So this was Thomas Eddy, who actually went past Gal. So actually Gal lost the position coming into 130R. Thomas Eddy just zooms past the Red Bull, and that was just very, very easy. So not the start that Gal would have wanted, but for Volker, it's the perfect start that he would have wanted. As he sets the fastest lap, no surprise. Now here is Roke trying to get past. It looks like Parashki heading into the first corner. He's now trying to swap to the inside and not able to make a stick there at all. I think there was a bit of smoke there and lock up, and oh no! And Enis Barachki, oh, you've got to be kidding me. An engine failure on the second lap. We've only been going 2 laps. This engine has failed. And it really has been a very unfortunate season for the Macedonian. And he is going to retire. And after having such a good start and being possibly in contention for points, he's going to get, nothing there as his car nearly rebounds and hits Sontag there. That could have been a scary crash. But you really got to feel for Enis Barachki, you really do. That is just on the second lap as well. I mean, I don't really know many times that we've ever had engine failures on the second lap of this race. You could just see coming into the first corner, I thought I saw smoke. I thought it was a lockup originally, but it was actually smoke from his car. And yeah, there's not really much else to say about that. You got to feel for him. That's all you can really say. But anyway, here we are looking at Willows trying to get past Lopez for second position. And Willows trying to make a move on the inside. Can he make it stick? There's nearly contact. And fortunately, they keep going. But coming through into smooth curve there, that could have been very deadly. You can make moves into there, but they either go well or go wrong. No in between. Now Willows is on the inside coming through 130R. Is this the move? And it is. And now Willows crucially up into second position. So now Willows, will he try and go after Volker in front of him? He's not that far ahead, so he could catch him up as he's on lighter fuel than he is. So we'll see how that develops through the race. So Willows comes across the line. So does the rest of the field. Hutter in 4th position. Carr just behind him in 5th. So as we're looking through, at the moment only one retirement from this race so far. Of course, Evan Byrne got that special livery on his car, and I have to say, it looks unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. As we look at Franco Lopez in 3rd, who's losing ground 2 Willows in front of him. He's got a good gap behind him to Hutter, who might come under pressure from Armour Car soon if he's not careful. But as they come through the S-curves through Dunlop now, heading in towards Degner. And this is where there's a number of overtakes, and there's been a number of crashes over the years in both dry and wet conditions. It has happened. So as you look through the order, there's not been a few movements in the top 10. Half of the top 10 hasn't moved. There's Chung trying to make it through on the inside of Mackenzie there, not going to make it stick. So Gal's lost 3 places. He's made a bad start. Tomaselli's made a good start, up 2 places. Hutter up 1, Carr up 1, Roke down 1. But for Gal, it's just not what he needs. And speaking of not drivers not needing a failure, Lean Campana is out, and it seems he has got a car failure. So 2 car failures in the first 3 laps. So what has happened to him? So the wheel has gone. So what was the problem? It was a loose wheel. So Campana, who was just outside of the points, had Evan Byrne in front of him, who was behind now Turin and then behind Roke. So he was in with a chance. He had light fuel as well, so it probably would have been a 3-stop for him, Campana. But unfortunately, he is going to be getting nothing from this race. So he is out. There we go. Pulls off in probably anger at the fact his car's failed on him like it has. But as we're looking at the battle now between Mackenzie and Chung once again, and coming in towards 130R, Chung actually makes the overtake before 130R, before they actually get there. So good move there by the Chinese driver. Here's Franco Gamba in 14th. Going to try and get past Mackenzie. We look at the rest of the field. The Sontagu unfortunately is stuck at this one in time in last. Willows is he's about a 2nd gap behind. He's not entirely gaining on Volker at the moment, but we'll see how that works. Coming through is now Gamba's on the inside of Mackenzie. Coming through into the first corner, he's going to make it through. Yep, he's up into P13. A lucky or unlucky, mainly unlucky number. But Gamba will want to get out of that unlucky number and move up past Chung, who in P12. So we look at the top 3, who are still pretty close to each other. Lopez, the gap about 1.6 seconds to Hutter behind. Here's a big battle for 7th. This is Roach to get past Gal. On the inside, is he through? Not quite. And now Turner might sneak through here. And he does. He sneaks round the outside and takes 8th position there. Great move there by the Thai driver. Took advantage of Roke trying to get past Gal, who's really struggling for pace. I don't know what his fuel is like, but... And there was so nearly contact there, and it actually put Roke off. And that's why now Turner went around the outside, thank you very much, and takes 8th away. So Willows actually now is starting to close. It's only a 2nd. As now Roberto Gamba trying to get past James McKenzie, who himself is having a pretty torrid race at the moment in time, although it is only 4 laps, but he's seemingly struggling. Hasn't got a huge amount of fuel on his car, but looks like it'll be the 2-stop for him, but he's definitely not got the pace. But Willows just itching closer and closer and closer to the back of Volker as we look at Lopez, who himself is still just hanging about. Now here is Roke once again trying to get past Gal on the inside, and I think he has done it now, and yes he has. Now moves up into 7th position, so Gal, and that explains why, having seen his fuel, he has got a very heavy fuel load, so that explains why Gal is struggling. So it looks like he's going to be going for the 1-stop, and I'm not sure, particularly around the circuit, it's going to work. But speaking of working, Willows is closing and closing and closing the gap to Volker. He is right behind him now. The gap was actually 46,000, so I think he did try and move at earlier on in the lap, but he's close behind him now. I don't think he's quite close enough to be in the slipstream going towards 130R. But Miklos Gal is down to he's now down to 11th, so Gal is really struggling here. He's having a torrid race, and as you look at him coming through, you can see De Rossi on the inside here making a move. And yeah, Gal is just going to be sitting duck really. Now, speaking of making moves, Willows is going to attempt to make a move on Florian Volker, coming down towards 130R. This is the battle for the race lead. Willows just about edging alongside. Will he have it done into 130R? The answer is it's side by side. I think Willows might have the run through. Will Volker keep it on the inside into the chicane? And he does. So Willows doesn't make it stick yet. So that will allow Franco Lopez to close up a bit behind. So good battle there between these two. And Willows, who won last week, of course, in Russia, getting his faint title hopes back on track. But he wants to keep his good form up. And you can see him coming. He thought he was through, coming through 130R. He was alongside him, he was through, up ahead, and you can see his nose in front thinking, yes, I've made it. But then the Mercedes comes back at the inside again and says, nope, not today, sir. And so Willis is going to have to try it again, and he will pretty soon because he's already caught up to the back of Volker. Will he try it into Degner here? Look how close he is. He might try it here into Degner. Here we go. He's going to try and make a move as there's a yellow flag, and it's Roku's off. And George Roke, after his podium in Russia, who was running in 7th. And what happened here? And he just makes a mistake, goes wide, loses it on the curb, and spins. That's a rare mistake from Roke, who's had such a good season so far. Could this be the race where his luck runs out? But speaking of luck, Willows is on the inside, and oh, Volker goes off. And, well, that was a very easy move there for Willows. Makes it through on the inside of Volker, made it very easy for him, just made a mistake there. You can see he just locks up there and was never making the corner. And unfortunately goes wide and loses the lead to Willows. He lost it anyway, but he loses a ton of time. And that would, of course, allow his teammate Franco Lopez to catch up behind, but that's definitely not what Volker needed. You can see coming through here, there's a lock-up, goes wide onto the gravel. He's lucky he didn't actually get any damage from that. You can get damage from going over onto the gravel there. We've seen it numerous times before over the years. But Willows now comes into the pits for his first stop of the race. So let's see how much fuel they put in. So it looks like it could be a 3-stop. And how much are they going to put in? 18. So it could be, but I suppose, I mean, they could go to the end after his other stop. I don't know, but anyway, let's just see where he comes out on the circuit. It's a quick stop actually, 5.8 seconds. He's always going to come out, I think, behind this gaggle of cars. This won't be good for him. Comes up behind Thomas, he comes up behind now Turner. Will come out ahead of Burns, but these are not behind 3 cars, but unfortunately he would have preferred if he came out ahead of these 2. But unfortunately he hasn't, although now Turner actually is going to be pitting this lap, so they'll be rid of 1 car pretty soon. But I'll have to overtake now Turner on track, although he might do it probably pretty quickly. De Rosser is going to be pitting on this lap as well. But here we are, this is the battle for what is actually temporarily P5. Now Turner on the back of Tomaselli, Willows as well. And is Tomaselli going to defend from now Turner? And he's not really defending now. Turner on the inside. Is he going to make it stick? He's through. And Willows follows him through too. And that's worked out perfectly for him because, of course, now Turner is going to be pitting this lap. So once he goes in, Willows will be in clear air. So at the moment, it was almost just perfectly timed there by Willows. Now Byrne might have a go at Tomaselli as well. He's not careful. But look at how quick Willows is. He's right on now Turner. You can see how the amount of speed he had off that corner there. Just seemed to have so much more than Narishon in there. Now he might try and make a move on the inside here, and he is going to go for it. And they didn't make contact, and Willows is through, so yet Willows is on a mission. So he makes it up into P5, and now he's got plenty of clear air in front of him. And of course, speaking of clear air, Tomaselli is going to have that clear air taken away from him if Byrne makes a move on the inside coming into 130R. And he's not quite there, but I have to say, just that livery is just amazing. Throwback to the old Renault livery. As we're looking at now Turner, who's going to come into the pits this lap, he will jink to the right, and in he goes. And now Byrne is going to be trying to overtake Tomaselli, and Tomaselli himself is going to be pitting pretty soon as well. Now Turner in, it's been a pretty strong first stint from him, pretty good qualifying as well. Been so far a good weekend. So as he comes in, changes all 4 tyres. And oh my, wow, that's a lot of fuel that he's got in, so it's clear he's going to be doing the 2-stop. But he's going to be going a long way on this stint. Will it work? Don't know. But we will wait and see. But of course, now Turner will come out, I think, behind Mackenzie. De Rossa comes out as well. It was a pretty slow stop for now Turner, though, unfortunately. It was only, I think, 9 seconds that was, so it was pretty slow. Jones will come out ahead of De Rossa, who just comes out ahead of the Williams of Sonntag, who's still stuck at the back. So it's not worked out particularly well for De Rossa, but for now Turner as well won't be too happy about how slow that stop was. But it'll have plenty of time to recover, although he's just got to preserve his tyres because he's going long on this stint, longer I think than anyone else so far. As we look through the order, and there's poor old Gal in 10th position there, just all on his own, just not really doing anything. So we're looking through as his Byrne now, trying to get past Tomaselli once again, coming through into Spoon, and Tomaselli fortunately doesn't get spooned, and so now Byrne will try into 130R. So he's going to be in a slipstream. He's going to make a move to the left on the inside if he has the speed. He does. And does he quite have the momentum? No, it just doesn't look like he's not got the speed. And so Byrne stays behind. So he's just not quite got it there, really. Evan Byrne just not quite got enough power in the car. But speaking of cars with power, we're looking at the 2 Mercedes of Volker and Lopez. And Lopez himself has actually been keeping the gap, only about 1.3 seconds, as Willow's showing his pace in the Ferrari by setting the fastest lap. Now here is now Turin, who's on the back of the Russian of Maxim Titkov, coming through 130R, heading into the final chicane, and it's going to be close. Oh, there's contact between the two, and they just about keep it on the road, although now Turin's going to lose a lot of time if he can't get past this this guy, and unfortunately he's lost a lot of time making contact with him into the chicane there. You could see that was going to happen. Unfortunately, wasn't enough for him. Well, it unsettled him. It wasn't enough to get past him, though, which they are two different things. So now Turin unable to get through there, and it's going to hold him up, and this is not particularly what he would have wanted. He really would have wanted to have been ahead of Titkov and not had to deal with him. But is what it is. And now, speaking of dealing with people that don't want to, Byrne is trying to get past Tomaselli, but he hasn't got the speed. Well, he's got the speed, but he's not got the power. He's got another yellow flag out on the circuit. And where is that? As Roku's off again! And George Roku's off again. And he's crashed at this corner before. So what happened to him? So was it another mistake by Roke? Or did he make contact? So we shall find out. And was it a mistake? And it looks like it... Oh no! And so he goes into the back of Chung, who was battling with Sontag. Roke was not expecting Chung to go as slowly through the corner as she did while battling Sontag. And it just caught Roke out by surprise, although, I mean, Chung did move across Roke there, which I suppose he didn't necessarily expect. But, unfortunately for Roke, just got caught unawares there, as we got to pit for a new front wing. So, unfortunately for Roke, it looks like his luck is out in this race. It was bound to happen eventually, and this is the race where it's all come crashing down to earth. So he'll pit again, so will Chung actually as well. Tomaselli is coming in the pits for his first stop of the race. He's not quite going as far as now Turin. And I would be interested to see actually if he does come out ahead of now Turin in the stops. I would imagine that he does, with how far down now Turin was, and yet he will. Now Turin is just coming across the line, so that's important for Tomaselli. Now Turin, who did finally get past Titkov, although it was enough to hold him up. Had he not been held up by him, he probably would have been ahead of Tomaselli, but it's not happened. So Franco Lopez is going to be pitting this lap. Volker's not pitting for another 2 or 3 laps at least. Willows is coming very quickly. And so Lopez is going to be pitting this lap. I wonder if he might try the undercut on Volker. He's been staying about 1.3 seconds, 1.4 for most of this stint, really. Not really changed that much, but Lopez going to try and get the upper hand in the team. Of course, both these two in a title fight. Of course, after what happened in Russia, which spiced up the... made it quite close in the run for the championship. But of course, Willows is now behind his teammate Amar Carr, who will want to let his teammate go through. But of course, I mean, Carr is still in with a shout at the title. I mean, Willows is as well, but not as much as Carr is. So, although Carr is pitting in probably about 2 laps' time, Lopez himself has made his pit stop, and he's going to come out, looks like, in clear air in P5. It looks like, unless anyone else comes out ahead of him, I believe. But this is the battle between the 2 Ferraris, and it is still going on. Willows still can't quite get through, and Lopez, of course, there in P5. Willows going to try and make a move on the inside here. Is he going to make it through? And the answer is no, he still can't. This is not good for Willows. He needs to get past Carr very quickly, because, of course, Lopez will be closing up on them as well, if they're not careful. So, Carr coming through the hairpin, and so he's still ahead of Willows, and I wonder if Willows will make a move into Degner. He did one earlier, so he can easily make the move, but he's not quite close enough here, so he's going to have to wait a bit. So he'll close up coming through Spoon. But Volker, of course, will be coming into the pits next lap. Won't be this lap, and now this is the battle for what is P12. This is Moichin, who's actually trying to do his teammate Altrin a favour here, because Altrin has caught up. And, I mean, around this track, it's actually not that easy to overtake, really. I mean, even though you do see a few overtakes hit by these cars, it's certainly not easy. Now, Willows has finally got past Amar Carr, who's actually pitting this lap. It's crucial for Willows as well, if he's going to be on the 3 stop. So, Volker is now in for his first stop of the race. Question is, does he come out ahead of Willows or not? The gap, well, no, he won't actually. What am I saying? The gap's 30 seconds, so he won't. But of course, okay, no pressure. It's going to be interesting to see if Willows will pit. Again, of course, Volker will pit once more. But it'll be interesting to see if Willows pits 2 times, not once. So we look at Franco Lopez moves up to P3, now lapping the manor there, and he goes through into the first corner. Carr obviously pitting as well, and changes all 4 tyres. He's on light fuel as well, but I think he's still going to be going for the 2 stop, I would imagine. So he drops down behind Evan Byrne. behind Franco Gamba, so you can drop down to, looks like P7. And he comes out of the pits, and crucially is going to come out in clear air, which is good for him. And there we go. Gal's still trundling around there in 8th position. He's still got a while to go before he pits. As long as he doesn't have any cars near him, he'll be in any danger. Evan Byrne is running in 5th. He'll be pitting this lap as well. So at the moment, Joel Hutter temporarily is going to lead this race. So he'll be pretty happy about that, but obviously pitting this lap. But Hutter, who has been doing pretty well this weekend and has had a pretty solid race so far. But obviously, when he goes in, Joseph Williams will reclaim the lead that he lost after the first pit stop. So Hutter will come out, I think, well, he'll come out ahead of Byrne, I should say, because he's pitting this lap anyway. So I don't know how much fuel Franco Gamba has, though. But if he comes out ahead of Carl, which I think he probably will, he'll be pretty happy with that. So he comes through the chicane. We're getting close to the halfway mark. As Hutter now comes in, and we've got a few pit calls. Byrne, I think, and there's 2 other drivers as well, apart from Evan Byrne, who are making pit calls there. That is, I think, Kenzie, and I couldn't see, unfortunately, went off the screen a bit too quickly there. But anyway, so we'll have, after Hutter, we'll have 3 more drivers coming to the pits this lap. So, changing all 4 tyres, and out he comes 6.1. Pretty quick stop. Can't complain. He'll be pitting once more. So he's going to come out, looks like, in P4. So he'll come out ahead of Armar Carr, which of course will be important for him as Byrne comes in. Where was Carr? Yeah, I don't know, but Frank Gamba's up in P5. Anyway, this is the battle for the race lead at this moment in time. This is between Franco Lopez and Joseph Willows, and of course Florian Volker behind will close up too. So we could see a very spicy 3-way battle for the lead between the 2 Mercedes and a Ferrari, and Mercedes versus Ferrari. Who's going to win? So Byrne just going out the pits there, and Mackenzie now coming in for his first stop of the race. So we could see, as I said, a spicy fight for the lead coming up pretty soon, where we are at the moment. But if Volker joins, and oh dear for Mackenzie, the team have only just come out. They were only just ready for him, although actually well, that was perfect timing actually. I thought they'd come out a bit too late, but it seemingly worked. So they changed all 4 tyres, and it was able to, a bit slow, but still they came out probably just about the perfect time, although he's been held up probably a little bit more than he would have wanted. But anyway, now here is the battle for the lead. This is between Franco Lopez and Joseph Williams. Volker is only 4 seconds away, but that is going to be decimated in probably about a lap if these 2 keep on battling. As Franco Lopez trying into 130R, it's not going to work. And the gap already, now it's down to, I think that was 3.2 seconds. So Volker is going to be, by the end of, well, this time next lap, Volker is going to be there if these 2 are still battling. Pit call for Franco Gamba as well is going to be coming into the pits this lap too. So, and Lopez doesn't get a good run out of the final chicane there, so Volker will close up pretty quickly as well. Carr now stuck behind Franco Gamba, although he's going to be pitting this lap. Gamba, I think, is going to be doing the 2-stop still, though he takes a bit of a wide line coming into the chicane there. But nonetheless, this is Lopez coming through the S curves, and he's going to be right behind. Look at how much he closes on him there. Clearly the quicker car. So it's only actually 10 seconds between the top 4 drivers, but Franco Lopez is clearly a lot quicker than Willows, and of course Volker behind him is coming. You can see, look at how quickly he's closing up, and Franco Lopez on the inside. He doesn't make a stick, but now Volker is here, and here he is. Speak of the German. He is now right there with Lopez. Now, of course, the question is what Mercedes going to do is, well, are they going to allow Volker just to pass Lopez because he's trying to get through, and he can't. But of course, yeah. And wait, is that Joel Hutter behind? If that's Joel Hutter behind, and I think it is, we could have a 4-way battle for the lead here. This is going to be great as Volker's now on the inside of his teammate, and he's still side by side, but he now makes it through. He's up into second, so now he's going to have a go. Franco Lopez down to 3rd, but now look at that. He's got Joel Hutter, who is behind. We forgot about him. I wasn't sure if he was going to close up or not. I didn't think he was, but Joel Hutter is now in with a legit chance of winning this race. Is he going to try and get past the Mercedes here? Not quite. I don't think. It's just about side by side, but he can't quite make a stick. But we have got a 4-way battle for the lead. A Ferrari, 2 Mercedes, and a Red Bull. And this is going to be a very, very exciting car. Unfortunately, he's a bit off, but who knows? He might still catch up. But here we are looking at this battle for the lead. And no, he still can't. Although Lopez is now holding up, actually, Hutter quite considerably. So they've dropped off the front 2 a little bit. So, unfortunately, that lasted very well. Good work, George. Anyway, this is Gabriel Gomez battling with now Turin coming through 130R, and Gomez making it through. Now Moitin trying to get past the Toro Rosso there. But, yeah, the battle's still going on between This is obviously for P3. This is between Lopez and Hutter. So Lopez clearly didn't have the pace. Well, he was quicker than Willers, but just struggling now. Hutter on the inside, and he's now going to make it through, is he? Yes. So Joel Hutter, great performance by the Swiss driver. He's now up into third position. I wonder, can he close on Volker if he still can't get past Willers out front? As they're just coming through the hairpin now, just a little bit ahead. We are now pretty much at the, well, we are now at the halfway point of this race. So things are going to get spicy. I'll be interested to see, obviously, with Willers when he pits, because he's going to be pitting earlier than the guys behind him. So, and I mean, we'll see if Willers does go for the 2-stop or the 3. I have a feeling he might go for the 3, but I'm not sure. But if he does, then, well, he's not going to win, is he? Because he's not going to get the gap to the 3 drivers behind him, but we'll see. So, as well, coming through 130 yards, just a bit off Willers here. He's not quite enough to be in the slipstream. You see how to look at the gap he's already got. And actually, Willers is pitting this lap. Okay, so he's actually pitting a bit earlier than I thought. I thought he'd pit a couple laps later, but he pits now. But the big question is, will he go to the end or not? If he doesn't, then he's not going to win this race. And so here we go. I thought for a second that the crew wasn't there, but it was a distraction there. And he isn't. So Willers is not going to the end. So he's going to do the 3. So this is going to spice up the battle for the win now. And Laura Chong has received a 15-second time penalty for causing the incident with car 99, that being George Roque. So Willers now comes out of the pits, and he is going to be... it was another quick stop by Ferrari as well, 5.8, so he's going to be in P5, and by the time everyone else pits, he will retake the lead, but unfortunately for him, he's going to have to pit one more time, so I don't know if that's really going to benefit him or not, but who knows. There's still plenty of time left to go in this race. Now here is Roque trying to get past Maxime Titkoff coming into Spoon. He's on the inside, and he's alongside the rush. He's got a little bit wide. Has he made it through? The answer is no, he hasn't. Now Laura Chung is there as well, and of course these two had a collision earlier on in the race, so could see another battle between these two. And now Roque trying to get on the inside of Titkoff. He's side by side with the Russian. Is he going to make it into 130R? The answer is yes, I think he is, and he is through. And he makes it up into P15, as Titkoff briefly tried to make a move back there, but unable to do so. Moichin is going to be on the back of Chung as well. There's Sontag just behind, unfortunately, who's been stuck at the back the whole race, really. Not been his race at all. So if you look at Moichin coming through behind Laura Chung, heading in towards the first corner. Here we are looking at Volker, who's leading this race. Hutter, he's actually only 1.7 off Joel Hutter, so he has closed the gap, actually, fair play to Hutter, and he's having a pretty solid race. So Hutter definitely is still within a shout of winning this race. The gap is about 1.6, so... And Lopez is just there in the background. Lopez doesn't quite seem to have the pace of his teammate or of Hutter, it seems. Now this is a battle between Titkoff and Chung once again going on. And as they come into Degner, Chung is on the inside and she's through. Gets past Titkoff, it goes a little bit wide, and Moichin trying to make it through as well, unable to follow through. Now Felix Sontag is behind too, so as we're looking now, this is at... I think that's Armar Carr, who's got Willers closing up behind now, and look at that, Willers is there. So Willers is going to want to get through pretty quickly, and he's going to go on the inside. He's going to make it stick, and the answer is yes. Carr goes wide but lets him through. Pretty easy there. Willers on a mission, really. He's trying to make up as much time as he can, because of course he's going to be pitting once more. Carr is actually pitting in a few laps as well, but he's pitting a little bit earlier, but of course he'll be going to the end. Evan Byrne actually having a pretty solid race as well, actually running in 6th position. Miguel Ascal, who's been running 8th for the longest time, is finally going to be coming into the pits this lap. So, of course, he's been doing the one-stop, which has not really worked out for him, unfortunately. But you never know. He could still gain more positions come the end of the race. Who knows what could happen. But unfortunately for him, it's not worked out too well for him this race. And so, and Laura Chong has got past Roque. Roque dropped actually down to P19. I don't know what's happened to him, but something has happened. But Miguel Ascal now comes into the pits for his first and only stop of this race. So he comes in, and there's the pit crew, and he's in, and he's going to change all 4 tyres. So go to the end, of course.
No pressure.
He'll be on lighter fuel, and he'll actually, well, they'll be on fresher tyres and lighter fuel, so he'll actually finally be able to put the pedal to the metal. But unfortunately, I don't think he's really going to get much out. He might get P6 if he might get P6, but that's really about it. I don't think he's going to get really much more than that. Now here's Volker, who's trying to get past some lap traffic here. He's trying to get past Moichin, and he's taking a bit of a weird line there, but he finally does make it through. So now Hutter's going to have to try and get through too. But of course, Hutter, fair play to him. And oh my word, that's a huge accident. A massive crash there between Laura Chung and Felix Sontag. Chung trying to make a move on the inside there. A big accident. And both drivers are out. And that is now 4 retirements from this race. A huge crash there. Just swapping at the perfect time to Chung's on board where she just lifted up in the air. Took herself and Sontag out. So here we are looking at it again. So Chung was in the slipstream, made a move on the inside, was going to go for it, and I mean that was pretty inevitable. That was going to happen, really. Although I don't know. I mean, Sontag didn't exactly give her room, really, compared to other drivers. So let's have a look at this on board. I mean, I'm not really sure who's to blame. I mean, Chung was going to go for it, and I mean, Sontag had already turned into the corner then, but Chung was already on his. I don't know. That's a tough one, really. I'm not sure necessarily who's to blame for that. But it's tough. But anyway, look at this. This is the battle for the lead. Look at this. Volker and Hutter. So Hutter's actually caught up with Volker throughout this traffic. Volker's finally got rid of traffic, but Hutter is now there with him. So this is a legitimate battle for the race lead and what could be the win. So here we are. Is Hutter going to now make a move past Volker coming into Deckley? He's going to try and make a move on the inside. Here we go. Hutter, is he going to take the lead? No. He can't quite make a stick there, but this battle is fascinating, and Hutter really performing well this race. Just a shame, of course, that he's not going to be on the grid this season, but he's showing us what he's got. Obviously, the bad news for Willows is he's got a lot of traffic to deal with. Hutter actually is going to be pitting this lap, and so is actually Armar Carr, so at least he won't have to deal with him. So Lopez obviously is pitted and is down to 5th. Carr is off Willows, but he is going to be pitting this lap. So Tomaselli's in as well, actually, so a number of cars pitting this lap. Roke obviously down in 17th. It looks like he's not going to get any points today. Here's Willows trying to get past some lap traffic, trying to get past the Manor, which he does so, and Hutter's only 3.2 seconds ahead there, but just imagine if Willows didn't have to pit, he would really have the advantage, but unfortunately for him, 3 stop, I don't really think it was the way to go. If he'd done the 2, and if he pitted to the end when he had, after that stop, then I definitely think he would, well, he could have won this race. It would have been 2 in a row. But anyway, we're looking at Hutter coming in for his final stop. Of course, there's the Ferrari Mechanics 4 car, who will be coming in shortly. So he comes in, Hutter, changes all 4 tyres, and we'll be going to the end. What a surprise. So, the big question is, of course, he's going to be doing the undercut on Volker. The question is, will it work? So, crucially, he doesn't have to deal with Carr. He won't have to deal with Lopez either, so he should ideally come out in free air. And he comes out of the pits, and it looks like he will. So, Joel Hutter does, as I said, have a legitimate chance of winning this race. And as I said, crucially, he does come out ahead of Lopez. If he didn't, then Volker would have the advantage. But Joel Hutter now just needs to get his head down, because he can win this race. He has got a real chance here. And speaking of chances, Byrne has thrown away his chance of a very good points finish and spins out the first corner. And that was we've seen a couple of mistakes there before, but he rejoins. He's down to 7th. But Byrne was having a pretty solid race, actually. We hadn't really seen him much on camera, but he's in 6th for a reason. He's pitting once more, but he's having a pretty good race. And Byrne making a mistake, going a little bit wide there, going over the curve, and it just spinning him right round. And there we go. So Byrne losing a position to Franco Gamba as well in front of him. So there we go. Now here is Florian Volker, who's going to be coming into the pit this lap. And so Joseph Willows will, of course, take the lead of this race, but of course he has to pit once more, so he is not in the picture of winning this race. So Volker now comes in, and so the big question is, will he come ahead of Hutter? I'm not sure, because Hutter's already at 130 off. This might be actually pretty close. Lopez, I think he'll come out ahead of Lopez, but I don't think he'll come out ahead of Hutter. I'm pretty sure Hutter's going to lead. Well, I say lead, he'll come out ahead of him, I should say. Stop was pretty quick from Mercedes, and there's Hutter just coming around the final corner now, and I think Hutter is going to undercut, and he's through. And he is taking, well, he's going to take the lead of this race. Does he come out ahead of Lopez? Volker, he's coming out of the pits, and crucially, Lopez does let him ahead. And if he didn't, Volker would have been angry. But Joel Hutter has undercut Florian Volker, an absolute masterstroke, it looks like, by Red Bull. And once Willows pits, he is going to be leading this race. But of course, Volker is going to be on fresher tyres. So we're going to have a battle, it looks like, between Hutter and Volker for the race win. This race is definitely not over yet, that is for sure. So, as we look, we've only got, how long have we got? What's the gap actually? So it's only 4 seconds. Yeah, Volker's obviously definitely going to close up. The question is, can he get past? Willows, of course, is leading but he's going to have to pit probably in a few laps. So, and actually speaking, he's going to be pitting. He's going to be pitting actually in a few laps' time. So, I wonder actually if Utter and Volk will probably catch up to him or nearly get up to him before the stop. We're looking at Gal, who running on his own at the moment in 8th position, and that's where he's been pretty much for most of this race, really, on the one stop. Roberto Gamba now coming into his final stop of the race. Mackenzie there in P13. Willows coming through the chicane. He's got this Sauber right behind him there, pressuring him as he comes through. But Willows just going about his business. As I said, I mean, had he gone to the end, he could have been easily within a shout of the win, I think. But Hutter coming through the final corner, heading towards the start-finish straight. Here we're looking at, this is Reda Moichin, who's had, unfortunately, not a good race. Running down in P17. Byrne is in the pits, and there's an overtake in front of Moichin there. I think that was Titkov being overtaken. Willows is going to be pitting probably about lap 44, 45, so, I mean, Willows will be insanely quick at the end, but of course he's not going to win this race unless he has, well, yeah, I mean, there is a chance he still could, but of course he needs everyone else behind him to make mistakes. This is the battle for P13. This is between Gomez and Roberto Gamba there. But actually, this is going to be the battle for the race lead. You can see Volker has caught up to the back of Hutter. We've still got, well, once these guys go over the line, they'll still have 10 laps to go. So Hutter is going to have to do one hell of a job if he's going to be able to keep Volker behind. So 10 laps left of this race, and this is going to be, well, this is set to be the battle for the race win, as Willows is going to be pitting this lap. So once Willows pits, this will be the battle for the race win between Hutter and Volker. But can Hutter hold on? It's going to be a tough ask with 10 laps left. I mean, he could do it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard, and Volker is now right on the back of Hutter. And here we go. Could he get it done right here and now? As they're coming through the S-curves, heading towards Degner. Now coming through the left-hander, Volker going to be in the slipstream of Hutter. And here we go. Is he going to make a move on the inside? He's going to go for it. Hutter's not going to let him through easily. Volker on the inside. Is he going to make it stick? The answer is not quite. Hutter holds on. But for how much longer can he hold on? I'm not sure. But as they're coming into the hairpin, Volker's not going to make a move here, is he? No, you don't actually see many overtakes into the hairpin, but it has not happened here. So Volker's going to be still in the slipstream of Hutter, coming through into Spoon. He's in the slipstream now, so he might actually make it to Spoon here. Look at the speed he's got. Going to try and make a move on the inside. Is he going to make a stick here? The answer is no, not quite. So coming into the second left-hander of Spoon. Coming off it now, coming on to the back straight. Is he in the slipstream of Hutter? I think he is. So he's going to be in the slipstream of Hutter here. So is he going to try and make a move to 130R? He's going to make a move to the inside. Volker on the inside of Hutter. Is this for the race win? And Volker is on the inside and he's through. He is up into what is set to be first position as Willows is pitting as we speak. So Volker has finally got past Hutter. And they're going to come across the line as Willows is now in. So Volker is now going to take the lead of this race, and I think everyone's probably rooting for Hutter there just because he hasn't got a race win this season. That would of course be Red Bull's first race win of the season. And Laura Chung has received a 10-place grid penalty for causing the incident with Felix Sontag. So yeah, they already got a time penalty from this race and a grid penalty for the next one for Chung. Not good. But yeah, speaking of not good, unfortunately for Hutter, he'll be pretty gutted. He'll be still happy if he gets second, but of course, unfortunately, he would have been much happier if he'd got the win. It would have been his first win of the season. Now, this is the battle for P7. This is between Byrne and Miklos Gal. Gal on the one side, of course, Byrne, who's pitted, who's wanting to get past the Red Bull, because he's much quicker than he is. As they're coming through the chicane, but unfortunately for Gal, it's just been a pretty miserable race, really. I'm trying to think of a good word, really, but yeah, the one side, unfortunately for him, as I said, has not worked out for him, so it looks like he's going to be getting nothing from this race. This is a battle for P11. This is the two McLarens on the back of a Sauber. Now, as we look at Byrne and Gal trying to get past some traffic here, and they have finally now done it, as now Byrne trying to make a move once again to 130R. It's a little bit late, so I'm going to make a stick there. And so, as they come through into the chicane, as Frederick Gamber actually is coming in for his final stop of the race, and Willows, who actually still hasn't got past on my car, I'm kind of surprised. And is Willows finally going to make a move on the inside now? No. I'm quite surprised. I thought Willows would have been easily past Carr by now, but it looks like Willows might not even possibly get a podium from this race. I'm not actually sure how far Carr is off Lopez, but I'm pretty certain he's not very close, as Willows almost pushing Carr through the hairpin there, almost telling him to go faster, or at least telling him to get out of the way, because of course he's much quicker than he is. But hey ho. So as well as coming through into Spoon, and is he going to make a move coming to 130R? He's pretty close here, so it's definitely going to be on. So we're trying to make him on the inside, but he's not quite got the speed. He's going to probably go into the slipstream, and then maybe try and make a move, although he stays to the left, Willows, so it looks like it's not going to happen here. So he's come through 130R, still in the slipstream. Will Willows try into the chicane maybe? And the answer is no, he doesn't, so he's going to have to wait a few more corners. They come off it, Willows, and he loses a bit of momentum to Carr there, and I think that's going to be enough for Carr to stay ahead. And as you can see, Byrne has now passed Nicholas Gal for 6th position, and this was coming into Degner. And so Byrne makes it through on the inside, and of course I think behind is Franco Gamba, who's just pitted, so Gal might be overtaken yet again. So we're looking once again at this battle between the two Ferraris. It's still going on, and I'm just still quite surprised that Willows hasn't got through already. So as we're looking at Willows in the slipstream of his teammates, and he'll be just frustrated as he could have easily won this race. As Franco Gamba has actually, you can see, just already got past. And now Volker is going to come up to this battle between the two McLarens, and now Turden here. This is De Rossi trying to get past his teammate Roberto Gamba, and so I think he did just about, but anywho, and now Volker's coming out to the traffic. He'll want to deal with this because Hutter is closing up here. And if he, well, I wonder if Hutter could still win this race. He's still within a shout, but Volker needs to be severely held up by the traffic. That's going to happen. Hutter now finally going past Roberto Gamba, and now Turner's going to sneak past as well, up into 12th position. So, and he's made it through, but of course Volker's now got 2 more cars in front of him, and I don't know if they've got any more cars after that, but if not, then this might be Hutter's last chance to win this race. They've only got, as they're going to come across the line, 5 laps left of this race to go. And there it is. So Volker's got the I think that is Roberto Gamba, I believe it is. No, sorry, it's De Rossa, and the Sauber, I think, of Gomez in front. So, and as we look through the rest of the order, and still Willows can't get past Carr. I'm really surprised. How far is Willows off as Carr off Lopez? Only about 5 seconds. So I mean, if Willows got past now, it probably would still be possible. Hutter has got past the Force India, but the Force India is trying to get back at him here. This is not what he wants. So. And now Turner's going to try and make a move back past Hutter. This is not what he would like. And I don't know if he's attempted to. Well, he's attempted to. That's not good for Hutter, because see, Volker's now right by the traffic. This is not what Hutter needs at all. Now Volker goes past Gomez. So now he'll have to deal with even more cars. So Hutter just doesn't quite look like he's got it. He's only got 1 car to get by Volker, and then I think he's clear. And I think once he's clear, I think Hutter's unfortunately is not going to be able to win this race. And actually, finally, Willows finally has got past Carr. It's taken him, I don't know, 6 or 7 laps, but he's finally done it. But as I said, for Willows, you really got to feel for him. He's definitely going to be very frustrated at the fact that he's not won this race. The 3-stop, although albeit quick, not the best strategy around here. So, as we're looking now, we're on to the penultimate lap of the race. The gap less than a second as they've finally got past that McLaren of De Rossa. But I'm not sure if Hutter has got the pace to get to Volker, because they've got no other cars in front of them, so this is it. And oh, Tomaselli is out! No! Paulino Tomaselli, who was running in the points, he had a pretty good race, very solid, and been running out around in the points. The whole race is going to get nothing. And oh dear, that is very unfortunate there for the Italian. That is his race over. And that's just not the way you want to end this race. So that means a number of drivers moving up positions there. So who knows actually what's going to happen with the points, but I'm pretty sure actually Roke might even be within a shout, maybe even Roberto Gamba. Who knows what's going to happen in the lower ends of the points at this moment in time, but for Tomaselli, you really got to feel for the guy. He's going to be getting nothing from this race, so that is very, very unfortunate indeed. But he is out, so he was running in 9th, on his own really, but he had no danger from anyone behind him. Dross was 12 seconds off, and it was a loose wheel, another loose wheel actually. So, unfortunately for Tomaselli, just his luck ran out towards the end of the race there. But here we are anyway on the final lap of this race, and the gap only 1.2 seconds between him and Joel Hutter. But Hutter, despite his best efforts, it doesn't look like it's going to happen for him. And I feel for him, because I kind of wanted him to win this race really, just because Red Bull hadn't really, and just for Hutter himself to at least get a win in what is going to be his only season for Red Bull. The gap actually down to just a second there. Hutter gaining a 10th in that first sector. But he's going to need a whole lot more than that if he wants to overtake Volker for this race win. And Volker going to strengthen his chances of the title as well, winning this race. So And it's been a great race between him and Hutter. I wasn't sure if Hutter was to come into it, but of course Volker had to deal with his teammate as well, Lopez, who was involved. Got past Lopez early on, and then well, Lopez kind of helped him really, because he held up Hutter for a few laps before Hutter eventually got past and then came up to him. But who knows? I mean, if he hadn't done that Lopez, then maybe Hutter would have been still ahead. But for Volker, it has worked out for him. He has come out on top. And as I said, Hutter has not made it easy for him, and neither did his teammate, but it's been a great race by Florian Volker. This is great for his championship. And as he comes around the chicane for the 53rd and final time, Florian Volker is going to win the Japanese Grand Prix here at Suzuka. What a race by him as he comes across the line, and he wins. Joel Hutter, a very valiant second for Red Bull there. De Rosa will get some points for McLaren at last. There's a big battle for the points there as well. Gomez will take 10th. As they come to the line, and as there's Roke trying to get past now, turning for 11th, didn't work. Willows will come across the line in P4. He'll be frustrated with that. Lopez was, of course, P3. Roland Moich in 15th position, a race to forget for him. And so he's coming around across the line. So there we go. And that is just not been a good race for him. That is 15th for him. Franco Gamba, a good result for him as well. 6th position. That strengthens Haas. In the Constructors' Championship. Evan Byrne, 7th position. He'll be very happy with that still. I think he'll be a bit frustrated though that he didn't get 6th. I think had he not had that spin, he definitely would have had 6th. Miguel Escal, yeah, just one stop. Just one stop didn't work for him. 8th position, that was where he was for at least 3/4 of the race. So Etienne Jones had to come across the line in 17th and what will be last as he comes across the line. So not been a great race for Manor. And there we go. Race is over. So now we'll take a look at the full race results, the driver standings, and of course the constructor standings after the Japanese Grand Prix. So here are the full race results. Florian Volker winning just ahead of Joel Hutter in 2nd. Franco Lopez 3rd. Joseph Williams 4th. Armakar 5th. Franco Gamba 6th. Evan Byrne 7th. Nicholas Gow in 8th. Karosma de Rosa 9th. And Gabriel Gomez completing the points in 10th. Now turning 11th. Joseph Willows setting the fastest out of the race, a 1:30.0. As we're going to take a look at the rest of the finishing order. George Roke in 12th, Roberto Gamba 13th, Mackenzie 14th, Moichin 15th, Titkoff 16th, Etienne Jones in 17th, and Palania Thomasini, of course, still classified despite his retirement, with Laura Chung, Felix Sontag, Lin Campana, and Enis Brachke, the drivers who retired from this race. So now we'll take a look at the driver standings after the Japanese Grand Prix, and here we go. So Volker taking the lead ahead of Armakar by 13 points, Franco Lopez just 6 points behind in 3rd. Willows still within a mathematical chance of winning the title, although it will be tough for him. Joel Hutter moving ahead of Nicholas Gow into 5th as well. Another interesting move in the championship. Roke in 7th, Frank Gamba closing up to him though. In 8th, Byrne in 9th, Palania Thomasini 10th, Laura Chung 11th. Looking at the rest of the order, there's now Turner and Moichin both on 39 points, Mackenzie 36, Gabriel Gomez 35, then we've got De Rosa, Gamba, Sontag, Campana, Brachke, Etienne Jones, and Titkoff, who, as I said, should have some points, but unfortunately after Russia just cruelly got robbed. Really did. Now in the Constructors, Mercedes extending their gap ahead of Ferrari, and of course Red Bull on their own in 3rd position, and Haas in 4th. Only just over 100 points behind Red Bull, but of course they're not going to overtake them, but they're strengthening their hold on 4th. Renault in 5th, Sauber in 6th, Force India 7th, Torosso in 8th, McLaren 9th, Williams in 10th, and Manor last in 11th position. And some breaking news is that Enis Brachke, after a disappointing result, of course, with his engine failing, he will retire from the OC with immediate effect due to his run of poor performances, and he will be replaced for the remainder of the season by Toro Rosso's test driver and current DTM driver David Greenwood, who of course is within a shout of winning the DTM title in 2nd position at the moment. But that was a bit of a surprising news at the end of the race, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget it, as usual, vote for your driver of the day and give the race rating out of 10. Don't forget to check out all our links in the description. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you for the US Grand Prix in Texas. See you there.